Okay, so in this part, we're going to look at the short answer questions in section B. So question 14, so this is that graph where you have to be able to identify the two parts of the circulatory system. So that top line is the artery, but because it says the left side of the heart here, the name of that artery is the aorta. Okay, so number one is the aorta, and then number two would be the left atrium. Okay, so that was just learning from that graph that we talked about before the exam. And then label X and Y on the graph. Okay, so X is the pulmonary artery, and Y is again the left atrium. Okay, so then 14C, explain how the circulatory system is able to transport blood under high pressure from the heart to the rest of the body. So you need to be talking about the fact that the contraction of the ventricle creates high pressure, that then that blood, the high pressure blood, is carried out of the heart through the arteries. So we've got ventricular contraction. Okay, so that leads to high pressure, and so then we have the arteries carry that blood, and then we've got the thick muscles, which obviously withstand the pressure, and also the elastic recoil, which maintain that pressure. Now, we only need 2 marks here, so you don't need to say all of those things, but those were some of the things that you could have said in answer to that question. So then 14D, the heart responds quickly to physical activity, and describe how heart rate is controlled to meet the increased circulatory demand. So the key thing here is controlled. So how is heart rate controlled? So that is the nervous impulse from the brain, which then goes to the SAN, okay? And you can also talk about the role of adrenaline on the, which would increase the heart rate. Okay, so those are the main points that you need to say there. Okay, so then question 15, we've got an electromicrograph of cells, of a cell, and it says determine with a reason, so that's important, the reason is important, whether the image is of a prokaryotic cell or a eukaryotic cell. Well, we've got the nucleus, we've got mitochondria, and we've got rough endoplasmic reticulum, all of which are only found in a eukaryote. Okay, so it's eukaryotic, and then the reason would be because it contains a nucleus, or because it contains membrane-bound organelles, or because it's got a mitochondria. Okay, so then 15B, state the process that divides one nucleus into 2 genetically identical nuclei. So that is mitosis. Okay, and then 15C, it says explain how the cell cycle is controlled. Now, this is only 3 marks, but there were many more possible, and there were lots and lots of marking points here. So there were lots of things you could say. So you could say that the cell cycle is a sequence of stages which is controlled by the cyclins. Okay, and you could say that the amount of the cyclins change at different times. So we've got different cyclins, and that their levels vary, and then that in turn triggers specific actions. Okay, so those are the key kind of points that you want to make. Now, you could have talked about cyclin dependent kinases, and how they then phosphorylate the other proteins, and that those phosphorylated proteins perform specific functions in the cell cycle. You actually could have included all of that, but you could get the 3 marks without needing to mention anything about that. Okay.